You said they met the same statute, which indicates that there are others who are in the same exact boat that they are in right now around the world. So why was it a decision to prioritize these refugees over other refugees? And was there any racial element to this because they're white?
World in many respects. But my focus is not on those people who've left. My focus as a Minister of Agriculture on those farmers and farm workers and people in the agri-space that have chosen, like me, to stay here and make a difference. And they're going to get my full attention and focus and support over the coming time while I'm
this kind of extraordinary accelerated refugee process for white South Africans on the same day that temporary protective status was withdrawn from Afghans. Thousands of them, many of whom are sponsored by U.S. military veterans because they were their translators. So can you unpack that and the disparity in treatment, and what is the status of any kind of genocide investigation on what is happening to white South Africans?
Well, the president.
We have to avoid at all costs a 30% tariff. It'll make South African agricultural products absolutely unaffordable and uncompetitive in that market. So we would like to have the free access. I think it's also a very good opportunity for President Ramaphosa to be able to meet with his counterpart to dispel some of the myths and misinformation that have been whispered in his ear about South Africa. Things like a genocide. There's no genocide in South Africa.
Welcome that.
All right.
Thanks, Tommy. I think also we're asking because the determination of genocide is normally something that is determined by the Secretary of State. So just want to clarify, are you saying that this is now something that is determined by the President of the United States? And that's why I think Andrew was asking if there is an investigation in this building into whether that designation for genocide is being determined in this building still, or if something has changed.
Well, again, as I said, the president's been very clear about the issues that we have regarding South Africa. He's been very clear on that continually. I have nothing further to add at this point.
But it's a legal determination. It's not a determination made by the President of the United States. That's why we're asking.
I have, of course, expressed some of these concerns, and we've traversed some of those already. But what I have seen is them committed to staying here and fixing those things and being part of the future and part of the solutions here. I think that we can't determine where people live and what their life choices are. That's for them to make. I happen to think that they've made a mistake. I think we're on the cusp of great things here in South Africa with new government, with new energy, with new growth initiatives. And I think that South Africa is going to start to take off in a major way. And it's going to become the envy of the world in many respects.
The decision by the United States to confer refugee status to a group of Afrikaner South Africans is misinformed, as they do not fit the definition of refugees as set out in the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 protocol. Cabinet further reiterated that allegations of discrimination are unfounded and do not meet the threshold of persecution required under both domestic and international refugee law. Moreover, the South African Police Service statistics on farm-related crimes do not support allegations of violent crime or genocide targeted at farmers generally or any racial grouping. Cabinet refused the narrative by the government of the United States of America and remains open to constructive engagement to share a better and common understanding over these matters.
In D.C. today, the Afrikaners were the white minority group in South Africa that ruled during apartheid. The group was granted refugee status from the Trump administration, as the Trump administration has accused South Africa's government of racially discriminating against them. The South African government has denied this. This all comes as the administration as a whole has essentially halted all other refugee admissions.